So with the Donald Trump arraignment the other day, we had just a clown show unfolding outside of the courthouse. So believe it or not, there were more anti-Trump protesters than pro-Trump protesters outside of the venue. Now, why is that? Look, my guess is that I think after January 6th, a lot of the pro-Trump people think like, hey man, this might be a setup by the feds. I don't want it to get violent, and then that becomes an issue for me. So, am I really going to put myself out on the line like that again? Especially when, by the way, kind of hilarious that Trump, clearly was rooting on the January 6th protesters in private. But then when push came to shove, he came out and spoke out of both sides of his mouth and kind of sort of threw him under the bus as well, right? So, I don't know. Maybe people remember that. Maybe the pro-Trump people remember that. Maybe people are just tired of the endless show and they feel like even if I support Trump, I'm not going to, go to these extreme lengths. So interesting, but more anti-Trump protesters than pro-Trump protesters. But two people who were there, George Santos, hilarious, if that's your real name, George, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks she's some sort of, hero here, and she grabs a megaphone. She goes to give a speech. I'm going to give a rousing speech in support of my president through the megaphone. And, man, this falls really, really flat.
Democrats are the party of violence. They're the party that enabled and funded and cheered for violent riots all through 2020. And they allowed cities to be burned, $2 billion worth of damage. That's
the thing about Marjorie Taylor Greene that I find amazing is, like, she's not even trying, right? Like, with talking points like that, Democrats are the party of violence. They're the party of violence. They wanted cities to burn. It's like, okay, dude, do you really want to play this game? You saw January 6th. So is it, to flip it back on you, it's like Republicans are the party of violence. Who started the Iraq and Afghanistan wars? Who did illegal and unconstitutional torture as a matter of policy at Guantanamo Bay and Abu Ghraib? Tell me who started all that. This Democrats are the party of violence. She's just such a deep, ruthless partisan hack. It's embarrassing.
the Democrat Party, but we're the party of peace. We're the party that wants to protect the lives of the unborn. We're the party of male.
We're the party that wants to protect the lives of the unborn. And by the way, the second that baby is born, they can piss right off. We're going to cut their food stamps. We're going to cut their Medicaid. We're going to give them no social safety net support whatsoever. We'll say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, even if you don't have any boots.
Male and female, two genders only. We're the party of secure borders. We're the party that will bring peace to the world like President Trump did, not World War III like Joe Biden is doing.
Trump brought peace to the world. She unironically said that. Hey, Marjorie, who ripped up the Iranian nuclear agreement? Who did that? Who assassinated a top Iranian commander who was in the field fighting ISIS? Of course, I'm talking about General Soleimani. Who tried to do a coup in Venezuela? Who had John Bolton as their right-hand man on foreign policy? Who increased the drone war by over 400%? Anything to say about that? Donald Trump brought us peace. He brought us peace even though he didn't pull out of Afghanistan, and he said he would, and he didn't pull out of Iraq, and he said he would. Jesus, man.
We're the party of economic prosperity. We're the party where every American can live the American dream. But the Democrats are the communists. Democrats are the communists, and they are just...
Okay, I'm sorry I'm pausing every 5 seconds. I can't help it. Democrats are the communists? Imagine thinking Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi are communists. Nobody has ever been further from communism than Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi.
Destroying America, destroying freedom. Democrats are the ones that have nothing to campaign for because they are failures, and they're proving it today. I want to thank the New York City Young Republicans.
So now you can hear it. They're taunting her, and somebody's blowing the whistle, and they're screaming, "Go home!" I think they're saying, and this goes on.
For organizing this protest, I want to thank the press who are here today to cover this protest and allow me to speak and spread my words. And I would like to thank patriotic Trump supporters who are here today
by the way, man, she just doesn't have the sauce. She doesn't have it. You know, I always talk about this, but there are some people who, when they do public speaking, you just want to listen to them, right? They start talking, you're like, ooh. And it's not a partisan thing, right? Like, there are plenty of people who I don't agree with their politics, but when they talk, it's like, ooh, I want to listen. And then there's other people that the second they talk, or, you know, you got this thing internally that's like, just do me a favor, shut up. Like, just shut up. You're annoying, you're screechy, you're not making any sense. And she just keeps going, and it's just, there's nothing there. So she's still talking, by the way. Now, I don't know if you notice what happened there, but she's getting heckled. They're blowing that whistle too. And she's sort of getting drowned out. And so the more they start heckling, then her people started chiming in, clapping, and now chanting, USA, USA.
USA! 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 He's good, he's good.
She's still talking, by the way. Now you can't even hear it. She's still talking. She's being totally drowned out. Look. That did not go well for Marjorie. That did not go well. Now, by the way, again, more anti-Trump protesters than pro-Trump protesters. And look, honestly, from the pictures I've seen, and you guys could correct me if you've seen anything different, but it looks to me like there's more media there than either pro-Trump or anti-Trump protesters. But she got up there. She thought, I'm going to give a rousing speech. This is going to be historic. And it's like, well, so the Democrats are bad and Republicans are good, and I believe in good things, and the Democrats are communists and they want to murder babies, and I like President Trump. I support President Trump. Snooze fest, lady. Wrap it up. Go do some CrossFit or some shit. Nobody's interested in what you're talking about. Oh, it's so sad. Oh, it's the saddest thing I've ever seen. So anyway, you know you're in trouble when at your arraignment, he called for protests, and not much happened. And the most high-profile names that showed up in your defense are George Santos and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Not looking too good there, champ. Not looking too good. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.